Assuming you're searching for AMP cost expectations conjecture for 2024, 2024, 2025, 2030 and need to know where the cost of AMP will go from now on. We will investigate the previous costs of AMP and we'll figure out what specialists are talking about its future cost activities. If it's not too much trouble, remember that you want to take this forecast and each and every expectation with the goal that this is just the idea of some market master examiners. Also, foreseeing something so wonderful is totally inconceivable. In any case, we will make an honest effort. How about we start? As per the most recent information accumulated, the ongoing cost of AMP is $0.071 and AMP is at present positioned #253 in the whole crypto biological system. The core supply of AMP is 42,227,720,186 with a market cap of $301,384,601. In the beyond 24 hours, the crypto has been diminished by 8.3% in its ongoing worth. Assuming we look at the ongoing business sector cap of the AMP with yesterday's, you can see that the market cap is additionally down. For most recent 7 days, the AMP was in great vertical pattern and expanded by 4.26%. AMP has shown areas of strength for extremely of late, and this could be decent an open door to dive right in and contribute. AMP Benefit Mini Computer is a free device that permits you to quickly assess the exhibition of your AMP possessions by working out expected benefits and misfortunes in view of fluctuating business sector costs. Just enter the sum you have contributed, the purchasing cost, and the sell value charge, and our AMP Mini Computer will wrap up. We foresee future AMP cost expectations AMP figure by applying profound man-made reasoning helped specialized investigation on the past value information of AMP. We give a valiant effort to gather most extreme verifiable information for the AMP coin, which incorporate different boundaries like past value, AMP market cap, AMP volume, and scarcely any more. Assuming you are hoping to put resources into computerized digital forms of money and need great profit from your speculations, try to peruse our expectations. AMP value expectation synopsis. AMP is expected to arrive at a most extreme cost of $0.0152 continuously 2025. The typical extended cost for AMP in 2030 is supposed to be $0.082, with expected change somewhere in the range of $0.0797 and $0.0945. As of the most recent update, AMP is exchanging at around $0.071. Long-haul investigation proposes that AMP cost might actually flood to $7.84 by 2050. AMP is determined to arrive at a typical cost of $4.78 toward the finish of 2040. AMP value expectation 2024. The cost of AMP is anticipated to reach at least worth of $0.086 in 2024. The AMP cost could arrive at a greatest worth of $0.0102 with the typical exchanging cost of $0.09 all through 2024. AMP value expectation 2025. According to the conjecture and specialized examination, in 2025 the cost of AMP is supposed to reach at any rate value worth of $0.0128. The AMP cost can arrive at a greatest value worth of $0.0152 with a typical worth of $0.0133. AMP value figure for 2026. AMP cost is figured to arrive at a most reduced conceivable degree of $0.0185 in 2026. According to our discoveries, the AMP cost could arrive at a most extreme conceivable degree of $0.0221 with the typical conjecture cost of $0.0191. AMP value expectation 2027. The cost of 1 AMP is supposed to reach at the very least degree of $0.0279 in 2027. The AMP cost can arrive at a greatest degree of $0.315 with a typical cost of $0.0289 all through 2027. AMP value expectation 2028. As per our profound specialized examination on past value information of AMP, in 2028 the cost of AMP is determined to be at around a base worth of $0.0404. The AMP value worth can arrive at a limit of $0.0486 with the typical exchanging worth of $0.0416 in ESD. AMP value forecast 2029. AMP cost is estimate to arrive at a most reduced conceivable degree of $0.0548 in 2029. According to our discoveries, the AMP cost could arrive at a most extreme conceivable degree of $0.0772 with a typical gauge cost of $0.0564. AMP value forecast 2030. As per our profound specialized examination on past value information of AMP, in 2030 the cost of AMP is anticipated to reach at least degree of $0.0797. The AMP cost can arrive at a greatest degree of $0.0945 with the typical exchanging cost of $0.082. AMP value gauge 2031. The cost of AMP is anticipated to reach at the very least worth of $0.1185 in 2031. The AMP cost could arrive at a most extreme worth of $0.1396 with a typical exchanging cost of $0.1226 all through 2031. AMP value expectation 2032. According to the figure cost and specialized examination, in 2032 the cost of AMP is anticipated to reach at any rate level of $0.1827. The AMP cost can arrive at a greatest degree of $0.2072 with a typical exchanging cost of $0.1888. AMP value forecast 2033. The cost of AMP is anticipated to reach at least degree of $0.2722 in 2033. The AMP cost can arrive at a most extreme degree of $0.3203 with a typical cost of $0.2797 all through 2033. AMP value conjecture 2040. The reception and true use instances of a digital currency are similarly imperative contemplations. Projects with useful applications and far and wide reception are bound to persevere over the long haul. According to the AMP cost conjecture for 2040, AMP is expected to arrive at a greatest value worth of $5.50 in 2040. The base anticipated cost of AMP coin in 2040 is supposed to be around $4.49. While the typical cost of the AMP for 2040 is projected to be $4.78. AMP value estimate for 2050. Understanding business sector patterns and opinions is critical, however feeling can be flighty. Looking at current market elements can offer bits of knowledge into potential cost developments, however taking into account the more extensive ecosystem is fundamental. In 2050, the most extreme cost of AMP is supposed to reach $7.84. with a typical exchanging worth of $7.23. The base cost is projected to be around $6.92. AMP value conjecture facts. How high might AMP at any point go? The typical cost of AMP could go to $0.09 before the current year's over. Assuming we gauge the 5-year plan, it is assessed that the coin will effortlessly come to the $0.0416 mark. What is the AMP cost today? Today AMP is exchanging at $0.071 with the market cap of $301,384,601. What amount does AMP cost in 2025? The cost of AMP will increment as additional financial backers engage in the venture. In year 2025,